All right, so let's talk about iOS 18.2, which just got released to the public and that I've been using for a couple weeks now through the beta and the release candidate, which actually got released last week. So there's a lot of new features, and I believe this is the most important update for iOS 18 in the coming year. So there's a lot to go over, from the different image generation tools to the different integrations with ChatGPT and so much more, which are also visual changes that you might notice. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about some of the most interesting and important updates that come with iOS 18.2, which are all the Apple Intelligence upgrades. So Apple has been touting the Apple Intelligence stuff for the iPhone 16 Pros and regular 16s since announcing Apple Intelligence, and how this will be the first iPhone designed for Apple Intelligence that didn't get released with Apple Intelligence. So you could have bought an iPhone 16 and not had the main feature for some time, but now we finally have it in December. So the first thing I want to talk about is all of the visual enhancements. And so this includes things like, now you can have bigger icons and tinted icons that will show up in different parts of the UI. So we did have the ability to change the icons to dark mode and tint them in earlier releases of iOS 18, but now you will actually see the tinting and dark mode icons in other parts of the UI, such as in the Settings app. So that's one nice little change. There's also some other ones that are more substantial, and this would include things such as the Mail app. So if you use Apple Mail, which I do alongside Outlook and Gmail apps, I do quite like actually the Apple Mail app and some of the security features. I live out of the All Inboxes tab, which congregates all of your different inboxes into one master inbox. It's a great feature, but it's quite difficult to go through when you have tons of emails coming in from different sources and it's very unorganized. Well, now it's organized into different sections. So you have things such as like priority ones, updates, notifications, promotions, and then you have, again, at the end, if you swipe over, the All tab, and then that's where you're going to see all your emails in one area. I think this is great. We did see a little hint of this with the Apple Intelligence priority notifications, where it would bring up the main emails that it thinks are important to you or time sensitive to the top. But now you're going to see that with the new categorization, which supposedly is using Apple Intelligence, although things like Gmail have had this for a very long time and didn't tout it as an AI feature. So that, alongside with the summaries that you still get with your emails and your text messages, is a nice welcome update. Okay, a very interesting update is all of the image generation, which I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video. There are two main ways you can do this. This is either GenMoji or with the image playground. So if you just updated to iOS 18.2 and you have an iPhone 15 Pro, Pro Max, or any of the iPhone 16s, you're gonna see a new application on your phone, and that is the Image Playground. The Image Playground is an app built by Apple with Apple Intelligence, where you can use a more personalized image generator. So things such as ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini can generate images, but they won't be personal to you. Apple is touting Apple Intelligence as the most personal AI out there. And so through this is Image Playground's ability to use photos of people in your camera roll. And so you can use things such as photos of yourself generated in a soccer stadium with a certain jersey on. You can have yourself skiing, but it's quite limited in the different images you can generate. You can't generate a scene like you can in ChatGPT. You can only generate kind of like portrait shots of yourself, like this type of shot where I am looking at the camera, I'm quite close. The aspect ratio can't be changed. And you're very limited in the things that you can generate. You cannot tell it to have a Manchester United jersey because that's copyright written. You can't have yourself wearing a Porsche cap because Porsche is copywritten. And so there are some limitations, but you can get around them in some ways of phrasing. But that essentially is the image playground. There's some pre-selected scenes, pre-selected things that you can do, but it is quite limited still. GenMoji is the one that I actually think has very applicable use. GenMoji is the ability to generate your own new emoji. And I've been having a lot of fun with this. I think it's great for group chats. It's great for just very social chats. It's really fun. I've generated some of like a cat wearing a cowboy hat, among others. It's just a bit of fun, and it's more easily something you would use on a day-to-day basis. And it's very fluid in the way that you would when you just open up the emoji keyboard, and in the search bar, there's an icon where you can just select GenMoji, type in what you want, and it'll just generate them quite quickly. Now, with both of these features, Image Playground and GenMoji, I've noticed that the iPhone definitely gets warm and runs through battery if you're using it a lot. So it seems all these Apple Intelligence features are really heavy on the battery and the CPU usage. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the image generation. Actually, I got you. There is another one that you can do. So there's the image wand. And so let's say you are drawing something in Apple Notes to go along with your notes, and you're not so great at drawing like myself. Well, you just circle it and it will generate an image of whatever it is you just made. You can do it in different styles as well. So it's like cartoon, realistic, all these different things. I think there's a couple right now with more coming later, but essentially if you draw a house, it will generate a house. And so I think that's pretty cool. You can use it also for maybe like a biology lecture where you're taking notes and you want to have maybe a DNA strand there, the double helix, then you can have that there too. So that's a nice way to use it that I think is more fluid. I think Image Playground is definitely just a playground and something you're going to use today and then never use again. The other two are definitely more useful. Okay, let's get to the other integrations such as ChatGPT. All right, so one of the biggest features that a lot of folks have been waiting for is the integration with ChatGPT. So Apple has been a bit slow to get into the AI game, and thus they are relying a bit on the help from OpenAI through ChatGPT. So essentially, you can use ChatGPT with Siri. And again, all of these features are only available on iPhone 15 Pros, just the Pro, and the 16 line of phones, so this year's phones. And essentially, if you are to use Siri and then ask it a question that it might not be able to answer on device, then it will, well, I should preface, there is also a bit of Apple Intelligence happening in their secured cloud, but some things need a little more help. And that's when it will ask ChatGPT to help out. So there's a feature in Apple Notes where you can compose, and it's not just Apple Notes, but in a lot of places, you can use this compose feature. And essentially, the compose feature is going to take you to another text box that you will then type to ChatGPT to compose something for you. This could be an email, it could be a bunch of notes or outlines, or even a short story. So that's when it will use ChatGPT. Another time that it will use ChatGPT is if you're using Siri and you want it to give you a recipe. It'll say, hey, I need the help with ChatGPT. Can you allow me to do that? And you'll hit yes, and it'll do it. Now, there is a setting if you go into the Siri integration with ChatGPT will then allow you to do more until they reach the same parity with them. And you can turn off the setting that will require you to hit yes or no if it wants to ask ChatGPT in the settings app under Siri, and then you go to ChatGPT. You can also log in to your ChatGPT account if you want it to use the memory that you have on there, or if you have a Plus account, then you have unlimited queries if searching through the new Siri. And so stop activating, go away. I'm sorry if I activated all of yours as well. So it still needs some help, and there's still things where it can improve. But essentially, through this new integration, you're going to have the ability to use a lot of great features without having to go through the ChatGPT app. So essentially, that is the bulk of the main Apple Intelligence features that come in iOS 18.2. Of course, there are some other bug fixes and some other features such as improved Face ID. It'll be faster, work with more things such as masks, glasses, things like that. Which is very impressive because Face ID is quite good and works with all of those things still on your face. Some other things are different wallpapers for Safari. So when you hit the new tab button, you can have different wallpapers. Wallpapers for your iPhone, different dynamic ones, I believe, as well. Some general upgrades to some apps such as voice recording. So you can now, and this is, I believe, only on the iPhone 16 line of phones, but you can record another voice message, or you can record another voice over the voice you have already recorded. So essentially, if you have a voice recording, you can then go back to the beginning and record something over top of that recording. And so that's an interesting feature. Okay, so the thing I said about the voice recordings and it not being useful to record over another one, I was wrong. So actually, if you have a studio recording of a song that you're making and you want to hear that song and do the actual vocals over that song without wearing headphones, that's what that feature is for. So it will isolate your voice from the music or the other voice memo, which probably is the music playing, and you can just get the vocals, which is crazy. So, okay, it's actually a way better feature than I thought. And some other general updates. So that is really the bulk of it for iOS 18.2. Of course, the new Siri is coming out in March or sometime in the spring. So we're not really going to see any more big updates until then. But anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know what features you like down below and the things that you think are actually useful. Is Apple kind of falling behind? Are they catching up? Let me know. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.